Good morning, guys. So I have picked the lovely Charlene as my guinea pig today. Now, as we go through these implementation workshops, don't worry if I didn't pick you today. I'm going to pick someone different every single time. So everyone's going to get a chance to be in the, we'll call it the guinea pig seat. But what we're going to do, the way that I'm going to do this is first, I'm going to go over the targeting strategy that I use specifically for power content. Okay. This is not going to be relevant for anything outside of power content. Okay. So we're just going to be talking about power content today. I'm going to go over my targeting strategy. I am going to go over the way that I build my audiences to target specifically for power content, why I do it that way. I'm going to actually show you how we build them in the audience manager. I like to have my audiences pre-built in audience manager before I actually place my ads. It just makes it easier. You don't have to do that, but that's just the way that I do it. And then I'm going to walk Charlene through placing her 3 pieces of power content. So everyone needs to have their power content handy, because what we're going to do is everyone's going to open up their ads manager. We're going to do this all together. You guys can follow along as I am walking Charlene through it. And as questions come up, answer them then and there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take about a 10, 15 minute break. Well, I will, you guys will not. And then I'm going to let you guys set up your power content. And then I'm going to come back. And then if you guys have any questions or if you encountered any errors, we're going to fix them right then and there. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? Feel free to unmute yourself. Everyone is good to go? All righty, cool. I like that. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to go over is my power content targeting. Okay. So whenever I am launching power content for the first time, this is the way that I'm setting it up for a client. Okay. I'm going to choose one cold audience. And we're going to go over the different type of audiences that I build for this. And then I go and do a warm stack. Okay. So just so that we're clear, these are 6 different ad sets under the same campaign. Each ad set, I'm going to set it at $5 a day. Okay. So let's say that I am launching my power content videos. As a matter of fact, this is how I do mine. So let's say I want to target Amy Porterfield. I am going to create one campaign that's called power content. And I am going to, underneath that one campaign, I'm going to create ad set number 1. I am going to call it Amy Porterfield dash whatever the name of my power content number 1 is. Okay. And I'm going to set the budget at $5 a day. And I'm going to put in my detailed targeting, and I'm just going to put in Amy Porterfield. Okay. That's all you have to understand right now is I'm choosing one audience and one video. And that's going to be my first ad set. And that is going to be at $5 a day. Okay. Once that video is approved, this is super important, okay? Once this video is approved by Facebook, I will then duplicate that ad set, which will create ad set number 2. I will not change anything at the ad set level. I will only change that I'm going to put in video number 2. At $5 a day. So now we will have 2 ad sets at $5 a day, which is $10 a day. I will then duplicate that cold audience one more time. Again, change nothing at the ad set level. And then I will throw in video number 3. So at this point, I will have 3 ad sets underneath my one campaign, all going to the same audience, which is Amy Porterfield. And I am now spending $15 a day in ad spend. Now, if you say, Laurel, I do not have $15 a day to spend, I would say if you only have $5 a day to spend, put all of your $5 on one video. Okay. Now I've got 3 ad sets. Okay. And yes, Nikki just asked a good question. Don't we want to change the ad set name to add the name of the video to differentiate? Yes, you will do that. So this one will be Amy Porterfield dash whatever the name of video number 1 is. This one will be Amy Porterfield dash whatever the name of video number 2 is. And this one will be Amy Porterfield dash whatever the name of video number 3 is. Okay. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do, if I have warm audiences, and by warm audiences, I refer to any of these as warm audiences, people who have engaged with my page in the last 30 days. Here's a little thing. If you are not spending or have not spent a lot of money on Facebook advertising, I would actually set this to 365 days. Facebook keeps your audience for 365 days. That's why I love video content. The Pixel only saves audiences for 180 days. On platform, actions keep it for 365. So you could do Facebook page engagement, 365 days. Website traffic, 180 days is the max. Instagram page engagement, 365 days is the max because Instagram is owned by Facebook. You could do all video viewers, 365 days. So if you have videos that you've been doing over the last, year, 365 days, you can create a custom audience and select all of those videos and say, if anyone's watched 25% of any of all of my videos on my Facebook business page or Instagram, you can create a custom audience of that. And you could also upload your email list. Okay. Now, everyone's warm audiences are going to be different. Some of you guys might not use Instagram a lot, and so you might not have enough people in your Instagram audience to actually target. I would say create the audience anyway, because all of these audiences are dynamic, meaning Facebook automatically updates them. The only one of these warm audiences that is not dynamic is your email list. If you are uploading your email list and you get new email subscribers, you're going to have to re-upload your email list. I'd probably recommend doing it probably once a quarter. Okay. But if you want to, retarget leads of people who have come in maybe through a webinar funnel or an ebook funnel, I would honestly just create a custom audience of people who hit your thank you page, and 180 days, that will be dynamic. So there's 2 ways that you can do your email list, but let's say you've had your email list for years and years and years, then, that pixel data only lasts 180 days if you're doing it per website traffic. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If you do upload an email list, Facebook is likely to only match probably about 60% of the people that you upload. Why? Is because it's going to try to match those email addresses. Now, how many of you guys have changed email addresses, or you have several email addresses, right? For me personally, the email address that I registered with Facebook is not the email address that I use to opt into things. So if someone were to upload their email list, I would not be in that because the email address that I registered with Facebook is not my public email address. Does that make sense? So these are my warm audiences, okay? Now, whenever it comes time to run my power content, we should absolutely run power content to your warm audience because it will re-engage them. right? It's a way that we can continuously stay in front of our warm audiences. And so after we have video number 3 approved by Facebook, okay, approved by Facebook, super important. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as I'm walking Charlene through placing these ads. We're going to duplicate this, but we're going to change, instead of changing the video, right? We're going to change to the warm stack audience, meaning whenever I place my any ads to my warm traffic, I call it my warm stack. I stack these all into the same ad set for me personally. Now, if I have an ad client that has like Facebook page engagement for like, let's say 30 days, and they have like 30,000 people in that audience, I'm gonna separate out my warm stack. I'm not gonna stack them all together. Does that make sense? If those audiences are each large enough, like and when I say large, if it's over like 30,000 people, I'm gonna separate them out into their own ad set. But for most people, I use a warm stack, okay? And so we're gonna duplicate video number 3 from our cold audience. We're not gonna change the video out this time. We're gonna change it to our warm stack audience. And then we're gonna duplicate that, change nothing at the ad set level because we've already changed it to our warm stack here. And we're gonna use video number 2, and then we're gonna duplicate, and then we're gonna use video number 1. Now, what I'm gonna show you guys how to do today, okay, is if we're gonna place this video number 1 here as a video ad, we want to keep the social proof no matter where we use this video ad. So I'm going to show you guys how to use the video ID number to place here. So instead of creating a new ad, we're going to use existing ad, and we're going to use, I'm going to mute whoever is making noise. We're going to use that same video ad as we're using here. So as we put video number 1 in front of more cold audiences, if people are commenting from different ad sets, they are all going to show up under the same video. So that is why you see all of my ads have like hundreds of comments under it, is because I'm using the same ad across multiple ad sets. Charlene just asked a really good question. Should you spend $5 per video in total? So if we have one warm and one cold setting, it's $2.50 per video in each ad set. No. If you only have $5 a day, we want to put the entire $5 a day on one video. So that brings us to the question, okay? If we only have $5 a day to spend, should we spend it on cold traffic, or should we spend it on warm traffic? If it were me, I would spend it on warm traffic. Here's why. That warm traffic, you're going to go through that warm traffic relatively quickly, right? But what it's going to do in the meantime is it's going to re-engage people who have engaged with you before with a valuable piece of content. And then, and you can check the frequency on how many times people are seeing this in your in their newsfeed. Then I could switch to, okay, cool, my warm audience has seen that video enough. I'm going to switch it to a cold audience. So Charlene says in her case, she has $15 a day total. So if she's got $15 a day total, right? You can get creative. And this is where I want you guys to get creative. She could theoretically spend $2 a day here on each of these warm, if she's got a warm audience, if and only if she has a warm audience, okay? So this would give her $2 a day. So that would be $6 a day on her warm traffic. And then she would have $9 a day left over, so she can spend $5 a day on one of these, and then she could do $4 a day on this. That's how I would split that up. So we can get creative. We don't have, and that's why I want to show you guys like the framework to do it, so that you guys can make decisions on how you want to spread out your ad spend. Lynette says, can you max out on audiences? For some reason, I cannot add another one. Yes, I believe that you can only have, it's something large though. I want to say it's like 1,000 or something like that. And we can, and Lynette, how many audiences do you have created? Okay, yeah, there's something up with that, and I'll check that during the break. And that is why we have these live implementation sessions. I love these. How do we know if our audience is warm enough? It'll fall underneath these categories. Or are you asking like the frequency that they're seeing your ads in their newsfeed? Okay, the frequency. So yeah, so if you go to performance and clicks inside your ads manager, underneath your video ads, you'll see that there's a frequency number. And if you toggle the date, you can see how many times your audience is seeing it in 7 days, how many times your audience is seeing it in 14 days. I try to not show the same video ad more than 3 to 4 times a week. But later on, as soon as you guys have enough of warm traffic of people who are watching these videos, I'm actually going to show you guys something that I call the ping pong video strategy. It's my very favorite strategy that I do with power content, to where we're going to create an audience of people who've watched video number 1 25% or more. We're going to create a custom audience of people who've watched video 2 25% or more, and video 3 25% or more. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send all of the people who've watched video number 2 and number 3 25% or more to video number 1, and we're going to exclude people who have already seen video number 1. Okay, so we're not gonna waste any ad spend showing people videos that they've already seen. But in order to do that exclusion, we have to have at least 1,000 people in that audience. So typically what I do in order to do those exclusions, I will exclude anyone who has watched video number 1 at least 15 seconds. So I'll use through plays as exclusions. Everyone good up until this point?
Hey, Laurel, quick question.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does this relate to anybody that's going to be on YouTube or LinkedIn? Same strategy, or do you have a different process because they're different platforms?
We're going to actually do this exactly the same way on all the platforms. Yep. And I'm actually going to make a separate video after today's training, because I don't want to overwhelm people on how I do this on YouTube. But I will have that. If I don't, I probably already have a video on my YouTube channel of how I do this on YouTube, but I will make a video if I do not, for you guys. Because I do want you guys, honestly, I think everybody should be running their power content strategy on YouTube as well. I think it is well worth everybody's time to do that. Let's see, Susan, I'm not quite sure. Question. I'll get to you in a minute, Rose. Susan, how long will we use these videos in ads? Can you give me a little bit of context? Oh, I think you're muted. I wonder if it's your headphone, maybe your headset or something. Uh-oh. I'll come back to you, Susan. I'll come back to you, Susan.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we have this set of power content videos. Are we going to run these for a certain amount of time, and then we start with the next set of power content videos?
Great question. This is a great question. We will run these power content videos until we find better ones to put in their place.
Okay.
Yep, and we're gonna test different ones. So for instance, and I'm glad that you asked that question. So let's say that we run this video, we run video number 1, video number 2, video number 3. Let's say that we run them to all 3 of these ad sets, and none of the 3 videos hit the KPIs that we're going to be looking for. That doesn't necessarily mean that any of those videos are bad. It just might mean, like, you know what? Let's duplicate all 3 of these ad sets and add in another cold audience and test all 3.
Okay. So then how long do we wait to see if they've hit the KPIs?
Yep, I'm going to do a separate video on that, but just for reference, about 5,000 impressions.
Okay, gotcha, got it. Okay.
Yep. Because, and I'll tell you why, is especially with cold audiences, I do not care about warm audiences as much as, because remember, warm audiences, that this will be a retargeting strategy, right? I don't look at KPIs for retargeting. I just want my face in front of like my audience. So I don't really like measure KPIs in this specific case. But the reason that I want you guys to wait to 5,000 impressions is because, think about this. Facebook is optimizing for video views, right? And so for running ads at $5 a day, now here's the thing, if you want fast results, like, and you have the budget, you could run this at $10 a day. You could run each video at $20 a day to speed up the process. But remember, Facebook is going to be optimizing based on how long people are watching. And so we want to give Facebook time, which is usually 7 to 10 days of data at $5 a day, enough to know, okay, because like if people start watching 100% of the video, Facebook's going to go and try to find more people who are watching 100% of the video and find more like people like that. And so we're going to be looking for trends, and I'm going to go in more detail whenever we talk about optimization of these power content videos. But yeah, but just to answer your question right now without getting too technical, we're going to run it for about 5,000.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So my warm audiences, because I have 2 videos on the retargeting videos, the testimonial carousel and the reminder video, and I'm running it to 2 audiences. One is cold and one is people who watched the landing page, sales page, and one is my warm audience. But the warm audience doesn't have any to show, as if nothing is happening there. So
yeah. So let's keep this on power content, because what you're talking about is a different strategy. But if at any point, like let's say I'll make this relevant to this training specifically. So let's say that you are running your video number 3 to your warm audience and it's not spending. It means that you don't have enough in your warm audience in order for the ad.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah,
that's my point, because it's not spending on the other. I know it's a different strategy, but I'm just pointing it out because it's not spending at all there. So I'm assuming this would happen here as well.
Absolutely, yes. That is a great point.
So I'll just do the cold audience then, $5 for each.
Yeah,
maybe. Okay.
Absolutely. So Lois says, hey, Laurel, it looks like I have audiences set up from over a year ago when I ran ads. Someone else set them up for me. They were for a different offer, but same target audience. Should I use them? Absolutely. Yep. If they worked and you want to test them first, absolutely. You can do that. Hey, and most of the time, whenever I get agency clients or private clients on a VIP day, that's usually the audiences that we do start with. Is if someone else built audiences, let's test them. And see if they'll work. And we'll talk about how to actually build those audiences next. But I'm going to answer Susan's question first, because I know she's got a question.
Okay, real quick, Laurel. I had a Facebook account that got shut down for no legitimate reason, and then I opened a second one. So that's why I use a second one for my ads. So there's no way to access my previous audiences in the account that got shut down, right?
So here's the thing. Here's the good news for you. Okay. This is why I love on platform actions, right? So in the instances that, I mean, I have clients that get their ad account shut down, in instances where they've gotten their entire business manager shut down, you can save the data if they've engaged with the page, right? Anytime we're running any type of ads, whether it's a webinar ad, whether it's a video ad, that counts as engaging with the page. So if you have, now you can't go back and get those exact audiences, but let's say you're running, you know, a webinar ad and it's a video ad, right? You can go back and create an audience of people who watch, because remember, if your ad account gets shut down, you could still access the data that was an on-platform action, meaning you can go and create audiences who've engaged with your page or any ad in the last 365 days. So yes, you can go and recover those audiences. Cool. Okay. So next, what we're going to talk about is how do I build audiences specifically for power content? Okay. Now, my example right here is my personal audience sheet for all of my ads. Okay. But for power content, I want to get as specific to an audience as possible. Now, this is different for conversion ads that we're going to learn later on. Conversion ads are the most expensive type of ad to run on Facebook. So in conversion ads, I want to leave room to go a little bit broad and let my messaging do most of the work. When it comes to power content, video ads are the cheapest form of advertising. So I want to take advantage of going smaller with my audience size. Okay. So we talked about building your warm audience, correct? So what we're going to do also, if you have warm audiences, if you do not have warm audiences, you're also going to want to build lookalike audiences. Now, when it comes to lookalike audiences, I will build a lookalike audience based off of my Facebook page engagement. Again, you could do 365, you could do 90 days, you could do 30. If you're just starting out and you only have, you know, let's say you only have like 5,000 people in your 90-day audience, but you have like 20,000 in your 365-day audience, obviously pick the one that you have more in, because the more data that Facebook has, the better lookalike audience it's going to create. Okay. So you're going to want to create a lookalike audience based off of your Facebook page engagement. You're going to want to create a lookalike audience based off of your website traffic, off of your Instagram, pretty much all of your lookalike audiences, but you're going to want to do it individually. Okay. So these are some of the audiences that you can test. Now, for power content, I will be totally transparent. I very rarely use my lookalike audiences when it comes to power content, because I want to have better control of my targeting. Okay. Now you can test your lookalike audiences when it comes to power content. And who knows, your lookalike audiences might be a really good match. I'm just, whenever I am running something to a cold audience, I really want to have a lot of control. So I do two types of audience builds whenever I am running my power content. Now, this is what we're talking about right now is only for power content. Okay. I do stuff a little different when it comes to conversion ads. For my power content, I use two types of audiences. I will test layered campaigns, and we'll talk about how that works here in a minute. And I also use independent campaigns. Notice in my example, as I was going through here, I used the example Amy Porterfield. I test different individual audiences for power content. As a matter of fact, independent audiences are my favorite to use when it comes to power content. I do not overcomplicate my targeting. I know that Frank Kern, women who follow Frank Kern are my ideal audience. Women who follow Russell Brunson are my ideal audience. Gary V, women who follow Gary V are my ideal audience. Now, sometimes I will target both men and women. I do not have a preference just based on past data. I get along better with the women who follow Russell Brunson than I do with the men. But everyone else, you can see I'm not excluding women, men or anything like that. Ad set number 1, Gabrielle Bernstein. There's 2 of them. I guess she has a Gabby Bernstein and a Gabrielle Bernstein. So I put those together in one. Social Media Examiner has my audience. Frank Kern has my audience. Thea is Female Entrepreneur Association. That entrance group has my audience. Infusionsoft, which is now Keep, which is a funnel software CRM. Russell Brunson, obviously, owner of ClickFunnels, has my audience. Marie Forleo has my audience. Brene Brown has my audience. Gary V has my audience. Lewis House has my audience. Okay, so that's my independent audiences. So if I were to run power content, I would test each of these individually. Okay, that's the first type of audience. Okay, the second type, so let's say, I'll actually give you guys an example. So let's say I am trying to target a female spiritual and the audience of a female spiritual entrepreneur who's a coach. So basically she's a spiritual entrepreneur who teaches other spiritual entrepreneurs how to make more money online, right? I'm going to use a layered technique. Okay, good. There's a lot of you guys who are in that, and I chose that very specifically. Okay, so as you can see, so if I were to set up my audiences in the ads manager, you're going to see something that says narrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bunch up a whole bunch of similar interests. Then I'm going to narrow it down to another group of similar interests. And then I'm going to narrow it down to another group of similar interest. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys how this actually works inside the building the ads manager. I just need you guys to understand that when we set up the audiences this way, this is telling Facebook they have to like or have an interest in one of these audiences. And they must also have an interest in one of these audiences, and they must also have an interest in one of these audiences. So we are using a layered technique to get really narrow and specific on who we're trying to target. The mistake a lot of people make when they're trying to do that. So if I go to the big group campaign, I do not use this type for power content at all. Okay. But you can see this is where we would stack all of the interests in one ad set without using any narrowing. This would tell Facebook that they just have to have an interest in one of these. If we stack it this way, this is telling Facebook they have to have an interest in this, and they must also have an interest in one of these, and they must also have an interest in one of these. Okay. Now, as you guys know, Facebook took a lot of targeting away. It is no longer easy to target people who are in the spiritual space, right? Law of Attraction used to be a great one. Esther Hicks used to be a really good one. Rhonda Byrne used to be a really good one. Law of Attraction in itself used to be a really good one. Spirituality used to be a good one. Crystals and all of those things used to be really good. I'm going to go and answer Mike's question, and then we're going to go into the ads manager, and I'm going to show you guys how I would build this for a spiritual entrepreneur now. So Mike says, for local, can I use businesses such as hospitals, rehab facilities, referrals, resources? Absolutely. Now, a lot of health facilities and a lot of health issues have been taken away. For localized businesses, I tend to drop pins, and I'm going to show you, Mike, what that actually looks like. I use geofencing, meaning I will target people who frequently visit the area that is like a huge medical center or a collision center or a law office for an accident lawyer or something like that, right? But then I will also be very broad. Whenever it comes to localized targeting, a lot of times I kind of try to get creative, but I don't overthink it. Sometimes localized audiences, I will keep them pretty much open. So let's go here. And so let's say we're trying to target, I'll do like Lynette and Nikki. So let's say we're trying to target women who are in the spiritual space. And also, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I get this question a lot. Like, this is what like people consider the big four. You can target whoever you want. Like, if I'm targeting the big four, I will put them all in the same ad set. Now, can you break these up? Absolutely. But what I do is I actually put them all together first. And if I see that, oh, Amy Porterfield is working in all of these countries that are stacked, then what I'll do is I'll go and I'll break them up individually. But when it comes to power content, I really do not overthink it. Like power content, I love using layer techniques and I love using individual audiences. So let's say we're trying to target someone who is a spiritual coach. Okay, we'll just use the United States as an example. So here's our detailed targeting. So if someone is a spiritual coach, right? Who are some of the people that people follow? Doesn't matter, right? They're gonna follow people like Marie Forleo, because she teaches women how to build their businesses, right? You're gonna just go and you're probably gonna do, Female Entrepreneur Association. You're gonna find, like all at Brene Brown, Louis Hay right here, right? So let's say you do that, right? You're gonna see that your estimated targeting is 18 million to 21. Okay, that's large. Now, just because people follow this, because Brene Brown, right? She recently had a Netflix special. She's got a lot of books out. Just because people follow, I'll actually take out Marie Forleo and let's say I'll take out Female Entrepreneur Association, right? That's still 14 million to 16 million people, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna narrow audience, okay? And so what I do is I like to stack, let's see, is still Esther Hicks like still one of the ones that you could target? Let's just see, let me copy that. Let me try putting that in. Yep, it doesn't look like that we can still target that. Okay, so I'm gonna bunch like interest, okay? So then what I'm gonna do is, okay, who are they following? What tools are they using? They're probably using MailChimp, right? Because most people, whenever they first start out, that's typically one of the very first email providers, email automation services that they use. Some of the more sophisticated ones are probably going to use Infusionsoft. There's also Constant Contact. But you can see that this is already bringing this audience down to 450,000 to 530, right? Small audience, but we can almost ensure that these people are business owners, right? We could even go one step further and ensure that they are a small business owner, but I do it based on the behavior, okay? Because they do have the interest. I say behavior. This is telling Facebook that people are behaving as if they are small business owners. So you can see this brought down the audience quite a bit, 32,000 to 38,500. But watch, if I do this and I go to entrepreneurship, that's going to bump that up back to 409,000, 481,000 people. This would be it for a good audience for Nikki and Lynette to run their audiences to, and anyone who's a spiritual entrepreneur. Does anyone have any questions about what we just did? You guys can unmute yourself. Feel free to.
How big was the audience again?
This one was 409,000 people. Now, here's the thing. Number in audiences are going to vary. Test, test, test. Meaning, don't let, Facebook used to want a huge audience, but I run ads to audiences as small as 2,000 people. Because when you have a local audience, right, like there's only 2,000 people, less than 2,000 people who live in my local town. So for the restaurant that I run ads for, I don't do any targeting and it's only to 2,000 people.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you remember how you created that audience for me, the creative writing instrument and gratitude? Should I still use that? But it's huge, it's like 25 million. I think
I would try, I would try to get it down. So here's something that I've noticed in some ads managers is that if you build it outside of using the audience manager, right? So what I did here is I am using the saved audience. This is what I call the audience manager. I've noticed that if you build those audiences outside of this, sometimes Facebook will have a little box that's automatically checked that says reach expanded audiences or something like that. So if you have an audience that is like super high when you're building it and you're still narrowing it down, check to make sure that that box isn't checked.
okay, so that would be too big then, 25 million.
Yeah, I would get it down. I would narrow it down some more. Now, when it comes to power content, if it was a conversion campaign, I would say that's fine. But if it's power content, I would want to go smaller.
Like how small? I know you said 2,000, but that's a little.
It doesn't matter. Like audience size is really irrelevant because it varies.
Okay.
It just varies too much for me to say you know have to do this audience size, because like in Michael's case, right? Like he's running, you know, people who need powered wheelchairs in Palm Beach area. That's going to be that's you know not going to be nearly as big as someone who's wanting to start an online business. Anyone have any questions until we get to the fun stuff?
I have a very quick question.
Absolutely. Who is it? Let's see.
It's Nikki.
Nikki. Let's see. There you are. Sorry, I don't have it. I don't have the there we go. There we go. Brady Bunch for you now.
Okay, so my question is, normally I use the Facebook page admin when I narrow down the audience. So could I use your layering approach and have the first two layers based on these big brands like Brene Brown and Louise Hay, etc., and then the third one just be Facebook page manager?
Yep, absolutely. Check this out. I think I probably actually have it as one of those. Let's see, maybe not. I might have changed it.
Or is
so sometimes like the third interest in my layers are almost always like either entrepreneurship, small business owners, Facebook page admins.
So then would I just add them all together and group them all together in one?
You can.
So
you can, or you can test it individually. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. You could test them individually. And the reason that I want you guys to just kind of just test things and get comfortable testing, because it's going to be a lot of testing, let's just say. Some of you guys is going to be much easier, like Lois, she's going to have an easy time trying to find her audience. Whereas people like in the online coaching space, it's harder because there's more competition, there's more options. But the more narrow the niche, like for Scott, it's probably going to be pretty easy, like because he's targeting people who are nearing retirement age, and he could probably target based on AARP and all of those kinds of magazines and stuff, and reach his audience fairly easy. But it's all about and one of the things that I want you guys to think about is I have a private client who she teaches women how to turn their expertise into an online business, right? nothing special. Like, I mean, that's literally what she does, but she knows her audience very well. And I always like ask people this question, like, you know, if we're standing outside a Walmart, and she stopped me right there. She's like, nope. She's like, my women are not shopping at Walmart. I was like, okay. I was like, where do your women shop? She's like, my women shop at Neiman Marcus. They shop at a lot of high-end places. They grocery shop at Whole Foods. I was like, okay, cool. Tell me more. And I was like, if I am standing outside Neiman Marcus and and you described your ideal client to me, you tell me the best way to describe them so that I could find them in the store without knowing what they look like. And she was like, well, they would be wearing Lululemon because they just got back from SoulCycle. They were just on their Peloton. They were just, I mean, the way that she knew her audience was just like, and so a lot of times I don't use targeting based on business interest. A lot of times I just base it on demographics and like what their other interests are outside of, like, for instance, like my agency client, Tasha, they took away all of the fertility, infertility, IVF, all of those types of audiences. But thank God during the time that they had them, I was running power content. Why was I thankful? Because we were running ads to the power content to those audiences for, you know, who had those issues. So now we actually have the audiences saved. But now, like, to find new audiences, I'm not even targeting based on health interests. We're targeting based on her audiences are just like Jessica's. They go to SoulCycle. They go to Whole Foods. They do not live in the Midwest. They do not live in the South. They live on the East Coast. They live on the West Coast. You know, they are a soccer mom, so they drive a Denali. They, you know, and so a lot of times my targeting doesn't necessarily have anything to do with business interests, even though, like, so Tasha's trying to target people with infertility, but Jessica's trying to target people who are interested in starting their own, you know, expert business. But sometimes in Jessica's targeting, we do not use any business targeting whatsoever. Sometimes we just target based on demographics. And that just goes from knowing exactly who your ideal audience is. Okay, Miss Charlene, are you ready? Are you ready to rock and roll? Love the hair. Love the hair.
Thank you. I'm just gonna save the audience that I was just creating as you were walking through this. Okay, I'm ready.
That's okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and share your screen.
Yep.
Everyone else, open up your ads manager. Let's get everyone following along.
Are you seeing the right screen?
Yep.
Okay.
I am looking at your audiences right now.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep. So the first thing we're going to go to, obviously, is your ads manager.
Yep. Back to that. I paused everything else that I had going on. All right. So I'm assuming I'll go to create campaign.
Yep, you can. Absolutely.
All right.
And we are going to do, ooh, you've got the new setup, fancy. So,
Yeah.
but so this is good because mine still looks like the old way. So this is good. So go to engagement. So the way that Facebook is setting stuff up now is your video view campaign is going to be under the engagement. So if your ads manager looks like this, you're going to choose engagement. If your ads manager looks the old way, it is going to say video views, but choose engagement and I'll show you how this is going to work. Hit continue.
Great.
Okay. So the way that I like to name my campaign is I like to say exactly what it is. And so, you know, you could call it, you know, power content. Yep. And you can name it however you want yours to look like.
So I'll just name it V2 since it's my second try at power content.
Yeah. And if you want to like put your launch date or whatever, that's fine too. Some people like to know when they launch this power content. A lot of times I'll put mine because I change up my power content every month. So I'll put like May power content or something like that. But always just be consistent, like just choose a naming convention that works for you guys. But always choose a naming convention, because I see so many people whenever they get into their I get into their ads managers and I'm like, well, what audience is that? And they're like, I have no idea. I'm like, name your freaking ad set. Okay, so Power Content version 2 all looks good. We're not going to do any A/B tests. We're not going to do campaign budget optimization. So let's go into the second layer, which is new engagement ad set. And so what we're going to do, so scroll down a little bit. I want to show you guys something. So here you see where it says engagement type.
Yeah.
This is where now your video views. So see, now you could actually choose how you want Facebook to optimize your engagement. You could do video views, post engagement, event responses. So Facebook has just redone the way that they have the ads manager, but all of our stuff is still there. So sometimes you just have to kind of poke around and find it. Okay, video views, great thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip the naming right now, because I do not know which audience you're gonna choose yet. But let's go down to the daily budget and let's put that baby on $5.
Yep.
Okay. Now, here's why I like to do my audiences ahead of time, because it makes this process so much faster. Did you save your audiences, or are we building it from scratch?
I did save it. So what did I name it? Oh yeah, layered female digital marketers. So I did I tried to make it as narrow as possible. So I did a lot of my audience is very similar to yours.
Cool.
with a big focus on they're using some kind of email marketing software. So I've done layering kind of like this.
Okay, cool. So I'm just nitpicking just to I like to keep like interests together. And so if you see number 3, you've grouped small business owners with softwares. I typically would not do that, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. You can leave it that way. But just know that small business owner's audience is going to be heavily skewed because the other ones are much smaller. The audiences are much smaller. Not a big deal. You can keep it as is. That's just me. That's just me nitpicking. You're fine. So for this, we're going to choose manual placements. I like to keep my video views in the newsfeed. Now, I'm going to make a preference. Something that one of my $7 members actually brought to my attention, and I'm going to explain why I keep it in the newsfeed. She says that when she uses the placements for, let's see, what is it? The video streams. Is there like a video stream? Yeah, Facebook video feeds. Yeah, so you see Facebook video feeds. She says that she gets a better cost per video view placing it in the Facebook video feeds, okay? But this is going to be a preference. Here is why I do not put it in the Facebook video feeds. What is one of the main reasons that I myself want it in the news feed?
Look natural?
Yes, but also what is my goal with every single thing that I do on Facebook? What do I want to get?
Oh, engagement.
Yes, comments.
Yeah.
So whenever I run it in the Facebook video feeds, yes, you might get more video views, but at the end of the day, do I want more video views or do I want more conversations? I want conversations. So, but I told her, this was my answer to her, because she runs ads for a client. I said, if it's your client's main goal is to get video views and less conversations, then you can leave the Facebook video feeds checked and get cheaper cost per leads. And then you could obviously, because there's a strategy to that, right? You can get people to watch video, more people to watch the video longer or whatever, and then retarget them later with stuff. This is just preference based. So it's up to however you guys want to do it. I personally just run it in the Facebook feed and the Instagram feed because that's where more conversations for me and my clients take place. Just wanted to point that out. And then if we scroll all the way down and you'll see that Facebook will say that it's optimized for through plays. I do not mess with any other thing. And And so let's go back up, scroll up, and then here's how I name this. So go up to where your audience name is. Go back down to where your audience name actually is, like in the.
Oh, right.
There, I just copy layered female digital marketers, copy that. And then I put that in the ad set name. And then I do dash. And then what is the name of your power content?
Oh,
And then I'll usually put like V1 dash and then the name of your piece of power content.
I'll do, okay, I'll start with customer journey.
Cool. And then we are ready for the ad, new engagement ad, and then name it what did you say, customer journey?
Yeah.
And I like to switch on the ad preview.
Okay.
And then Instagram account.
All right.
Gelly just says, am I the only one who feels technology talk goes over my head? That's why we're doing a step-by-step walkthrough.
Yes. I'm trying to follow.
Yeah, if you literally just follow how I'm having her place it, you'll be fine.
Okay,
So
can I ask a question? How can I get my, like I tried to minimize the Zoom screen, but this is again technology. How can I get my Facebook ads? Like, I don't know how to like minimize Zoom so I can get out of here without leaving this meeting to bring up mine for myself as a side by side.
Yeah, usually I will just make the Zoom screen like I'll pull it to the side, and then I will have my ads manager open on the other side.
Yeah, my question is how? Like I don't know how
to escape out of full screen.
How do you do that?
Just hit escape and it'll pull the Zoom screen out of full screen.
Okay, thank you. I'll try that. Yay. Okay. I'm glad I asked. I'm like trying to figure this out.
Yeah, no worries. No, I'm glad you asked that. No, definitely.
Okay.
Quick question, Charlene. I didn't get why you call it customer journey there. That lost me.
So the customer journey is my specific power content video, the first one that I'll be uploading. It's about the customer journey. So that's why
Okay,
it's named like that. Yeah.
Thanks. I'll just call it power content 1, 2, 3 again.
I like to name it only because like I can see like whenever I'm looking at metrics, like which video, like I'm all about speed. I like being able to quickly identify what without having to go and look to see which video it is. That's why I put the name of the video in both the ad set and the actual ad level. Okay, we're gonna create an ad and we're gonna go and add video. And it looks like you already uploaded them to your.
So I uploaded a version with headers like this. I also have versions without headers. So is there really any difference, or is that something we should test anyways?
So this is how I test. I'm so glad that you freaking asked this question because I almost forgot to actually mention this. I test both. Okay. So I always test my banner videos first. And I do test them in separate ad sets. So if you only have $15 to spend, I would test all 3 of them with the banners and see how those do first. For most niches, okay? Now, this is super important right here on this screen. Super important. Hit cancel out of this because if you do any cropping or anything, it is going to make the ad dynamic and we will not be able to use the same ad across multiple ad sets for social proof. Because a lot of times people are like, well, I can't copy my ad ID, and don't worry, I'm going to show you guys that in just a minute. So whenever I am doing these ads, I always start with banners. Here's the thing. For most niches, the banners work best, but in some niches, banners perform very badly. And so I always say test both. And I know the question is going to come up, what software do you guys use to do this? I will say this, I use repurpose.io because I go live with my content first, and then I bring it into repurpose.io that does the captions and does everything for me. But Charlene, what are you using here? I'll give you guys a couple of different options.
I use Capwing. It's really cheap for a video editor. However, it's not as powerful as something like Premiere Pro. So like, for example, unlike Repurpose, it can't easily take clips out of video. You have to create one different project for every tiny clip you want to export. So do with that info what you will, everybody who's listening.
Yeah. Repurpose is super freaking fun because like it'll literally like let you do the editing. So like, let's say like this Zoom call, right? Have you guys ever seen me like post a clip of one of our Zoom calls from Lean on Laurel and stream it live on my my Facebook page? I'm using Repurpose to do that because Repurpose will give me a little line, and it'll let me adjust the length of the clip, and it'll just spit it out and put it like wherever I want it to go. But anyway, well, I'm going to teach you guys more on that on the next workshop. But cool. So here's where. Right here where we're going to write our text. Now remember, okay, some of you guys are writing way too much copy in your power content. We only want headline, promise of value, call to action, okay? This is super important. Every time that you post a video on Facebook, whether it is an ad or whether it is an organic video, we want to look at the post as its own funnel. The job of the first line is to grab attention and make people self-identify. This is me. I need to read the second line. The second line's job is to get people to watch the video. Once they watch the video, the CTA is to get people to take action. Okay, so let's take a look and see before Charlene places this, how she did with that. So let's everyone look on the right-hand side of her screen. Do you see how you could see what it looks like on Facebook and what it looks like on Instagram? So if we look at it on Facebook, we see trying to sell your coaching offers or courses using email marketing, but you can't get your subscribers to book calls. It's pretty good. That's not bad. What do you guys think? Would you guys click see more? Right? Because that's the job of the first line. Remember, and this is why that first line, I tell you guys, it has to be, this is me. I need to read the second line because of this. You can see that's how it's going to look in people's feeds. If you look on the right side on Instagram, trying to sell your coaching offers or courses using email marketing, but you can't get, I would hit more to see that. And then I like your headline, from cold strangers to hungry buyers, double your value per lead with this email strategy. She's using some very valuable real estate here. Right? This is super good.
Yay.
Yep, and it did its job. Lily says, pass for me as I'm not a coach.
Ah, see, good.
Did the job. This is really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down. We're not going to add a destination. It's tracking, like it's got all this other stuff that we don't ever look at. I'm always like, this is technical mumbo jumbo that I don't do anything with. And then we're going to hit publish. Okay.
Yay.
We're gonna do a couple of things here, okay? Now, I'm gonna test you guys. What is the next thing that we're gonna do? I mean, there's two next things that we're gonna do, but I'll settle for any answer. There's two things that needs to happen next. Scott.
Need to wait for approval.
I think Lynette just said it.
Yep, y'all are all right. We're gonna wait for this ad to get approved, but we will not hold ourselves up when it comes to work. We're going to go ahead and duplicate at the ad set level.
Is there a difference between quickly duplicate?
I always hit duplicate. I don't know what happens with quickly duplicate. I'm just going to tell you. And then original campaign and duplicate. That's all I do here. Okay. So now we've got the duplicated. What is the only thing that we're going to change?
Oh, I'm cheating.
Only thing we're going to change is the ad, the video ad. So go ahead, Charlene, and go ahead and type in the next name of your and then launching.
All right. So I just remove it, right?
Yep. We're just going to switch out the ad.
All right.
So this is a good question. Nikki says, so we don't need to wait for Facebook to approve before we duplicate. We do not need it because this is going to stay in draft until Facebook approves the other one. When Facebook approves the other one, boom, she's gonna go ahead and publish this one. Wait for that one to be approved. So we're doing the work ahead of time. So as Facebook's approving stuff, because by the time she publishes her third ad, Facebook might have already approved that first one, depending on like Facebook almost approves mine within 5 minutes because I've been running ads so long. My account status is really good. But yeah, all she's doing is changing her ad. Let's check her. Let's check this one. So let's see. Sick of being stuck in the exhausting launching cycle to sell your coaching offers our courses. And it is led with, don't use this funnel for your launch. That's so good.
Thank you.
That sounds familiar.
Yes, it is.
That is one of my best performing videos to date. If you want to book more calls, don't use this funnel.
So at this point, we can do this. We're leaving in draft.
Yep, we're leaving in draft. Yep. So what we're going to do is, we're going to leave this in draft. We're going to go at the ad set level and we're going to duplicate one more time.
Writing emails. I don't remember what I named it for real.
Happens to me all the time.
There we go. Okay.
Write emails in 10 to 15 minutes. You did really well with your headlines for your videos.
Thank you. Here.
Are you spending hours writing emails to sell your coaching services or courses and not seeing any conversions? Right? Email, double your value per lead with this email strategy. I like that.
Yeah, I think I kept the bottom headline for the banners the same throughout all three.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Writing emails. All right. I think
because that's kind of and here's why. Like my banner at the bottom for mine is a lot of the same. Like I'll teach you how to run ads for $7 a month. Here's why, because that is your specialty. Like at the bottom, they're going to associate Charlene with doubling your value per lead.
Right.
Yep. So Nikki, your copy for your banner always wants to be like, what is the main like promise of value? It's almost going to be, it's going to be the shortest way to say your promise of value. Okay. So if you X out of that, right? So just so you guys know, Facebook will automatically, so go to the ad set level and then hit refresh.
Yeah.
So Facebook automatically saves these in draft. Okay. I know it's being bugged because it shows that you, yeah, there we go. Okay. Okie dokie. So this is what your ad set should look like after doing your first ad. So it's in review. Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys something, because we're not going to have time, because it depends on how fast that gets reviewed. But as each ad gets approved by Facebook, she's going to go and she is going to click on the draft, and she's going to publish the draft as Facebook approves. Okay. Super important. Okay. I know it takes time, but this is the way that I do every single one of my processes. Now I'm going to show you guys something, because remember, I know Charlene's not, she only has $15 a day to spend on this strategy, but let's say that she could do the warm audiences, right, at $2 a day or whatever. Here's how we would use that same ad. So can you uncheck the top one and go to check the one that's in review? And then go to ads for one ad set. So this is the way that we would use the same ad, because I think you can do it once it's in review, once it's published. So click on the square, yep, and then hit preview.
Preview. Okay. Oh, there.
Almost there. Yep. And so if you go to share, you see where it says, great, this is excellent. So you see where it says see post, Facebook post with comments.
Ah, okay.
Yep, hit that. So this is where she's going to be able to copy that after the post with the slash. She's going to be able to use this existing post. So next time that she goes, so let's just for fun go to Ads Manager. Yeah, Charlene is super quick. I picked a good person for the demo. But you guys got to learn how to be quick, like learn your Ads Manager, spend some time practicing. So go back to ad sets. So go ahead and let's just duplicate the one that you have.
Yeah.
And then let's say that she wants to do this to her warm audience. Let's just go to the ad level.
I just want to remove it to,
to
remind myself that's not the good one.
So let's just pretend that she's doing it to her warm audience. See where it says create ad, do use existing post, or it says ad setup, use existing post, and then enter post ID. Actually, you could do it. You could choose it right there. You see where it says Facebook post or whatever. X out that, but you could choose it right there. So you could choose it there and hit continue.
Okay. There it is.
Now what this is going to do is anytime she duplicates this ad set, it's already going to have the use existing post in there. So you only have to do this one time. But let me show you guys a different way. So you see where it says enter post ID. She could also put that ID number that I had her grab.
Yeah.
And submit.
Oh, well, it's already this one, so.
Yep, and it's already that one. So that's how you post that you grab that post ID and use the same video ad across multiple ad sets. So anytime I have a winning video ad and I want to try it against more ad sets, that's what I'm doing. I'm using that existing post. So show them how you did that one more time. Go to the original one that's in review. Because you can only do this when it's approved or if it's in review. It cannot be in draft mode when you do this.
So in review, it's this guy.
Yep.
Then we're doing,
and then hit the box in preview.
Right, preview.
Yep, and then hit share. And Facebook post with comments.
Ah, my mouse was frozen. Okay.
Yep. Yep. And I'm gonna say one more thing before we take a break. Yep. So see, that's the post ID right here. Okay. Now don't close out of this, Charlene. I'm gonna show you guys one more thing. Whenever you launch your power content and it has been approved by Facebook, copy that entire link and save it. Okay. And then you could ask us in the ad squad to go and comment on your video for your free thing to give it some juice so that, because what happens, like whenever we launch an ad that has comments under it, it causes extra engagement, right? Because people are like, wait, what are they asking for? And then they go and read the whole post. But also send it to some of your most successful clients and say, hey, I'm just launching this power content ad. If you could say something nice about working with me or something underneath it, I would greatly appreciate it. Or if you want to if you want to ask for the freebie or whatever, you could do that too. One of the cool things is when you run this ad to your warm audience, let's say you have an audience that's big enough, like a warm audience that's big enough, I'll run it to my warm audience first, let it get some social proof on it, then launch it to cold, the same way, using that same grab that post ID and then launch it to cold. That is what I do every single time I launch an ad, doesn't matter what. I run it to a warm audience, grab that post ID, and then launch it to cold.
Great.
So now what she's gonna do is she's gonna let all of these ads get approved by Facebook, and then she's gonna be ready to rock and roll for optimization and checking her KPIs. Does anyone have any questions before we break here for the next? Well, I'm going to take a break, but you guys are going to do some work. Anyone have any questions? Lois says, here we go.
So should I create a new audience for this or use the one I already have?
Do you feel like your audience is going to be the right one for it?
I don't know.
Don't know, huh? Yeah, there is no knowing. I do, like, guys, I do not have any magical powers. I can't tell the future whether or not audiences are gonna, I know a lot of people always ask me the question, like, I can say, yes, I think that this will be a good audience, but does anyone want me to take a look at their audiences that they've built before I let you guys go? I'll be happy to do that. Yeah.
I'm assuming I can stop sharing by now.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlene, by the way, you get an A freaking plus. Like that was excellent.
Thank you. And thank you for your guidance.
Yeah, nope, absolutely. You seem like you didn't need my guidance at all. You you did that like a pro.
I just don't know how to implement the new, like they have lost their passion for music, kind of thing. In the
It's
audience.
hard, and that's why you have to like figure out, like, for people who've lost their passion for music, you could like run open targeting. You could try some music interests, and that's what's important about like knowing, like interviewing your audience, like what are they doing? Are they trying, are they writing poetry? What are they doing? Because here's the thing is, if we do not know our ideal audience, we cannot target them. So that's where things get tricky. So people who've lost their passion for music, I will say this, more than likely, Rose, I'll use myself as an example, right? And God, I swear, guys, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna post y'all some videos of my music. I'm still in a band. I just haven't played in the band in a while. But it's not that I've lost my passion for music. I just got really busy whenever I started, my business. But I would be willing to guess, Rose, that I would probably still fall into like people who have an interest in some type of playing some kind of instrument. Because I still look at guitars online. I still look at drums. I still look at a lot of stuff. So I'm still willing to bet that you could probably start with some songwriting and musical interest.
Okay. And I think I'm gonna add Brené Brown and Louise Hay
especially if you're I don't think necessarily Brené Brown would be a good for yours. You could try it, you could test. I'm never gonna say I don't think, I would test moms though. I would test parents, especially because your power content has your son Jonas in it. I think a lot of moms would relate to that. I think that could be one of your layers is moms, and then musical interests. And maybe
writing. Highly sensitive people, because I had considered that before.
Which one?
Highly sensitive people people.
If you can find audiences to match that, absolutely.
So I'll just try something out. I'll create some new ones.
So Mike says, I'm going to follow the replay and complete later. As far as local audiences, should I go with zip codes or radius prior to do the Facebook pen? I would try both. I would do zip codes and I would drop pens around neurological centers. Do you guys have a big neurological center in your city? Awesome. Yeah, because like one of my main clients that I worked for was Barrow Neurological Foundation, which is part of Dignity Health. They had a huge center in Phoenix, so I'm assuming. So I would probably drop a pin, and instead of saying live in this area, you could say recently traveled in this area. Because there's two things that you can choose from. You could say who have recently been in this area or recently traveled to this area or live in this area. There's different choices that it'll let you choose. Gelly, you'll want to follow the replay for this because this is the most in-depth training I've done as far as like, I think including every question that anyone's ever thrown power content.
Okay, great. I wasn't able to attend the whole thing because I'm seeing clients, but I pushed one person off, so I got an hour. So
absolutely. Yep. You have every,
Okay.
like, this is the, like I said, this is the most in-depth training that I've ever
Amazing.
done. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. It's always great to see you, Gelly.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back on.
Let's see. Mr. Mike says for warm, is it big enough for local 2200? Yep, absolutely. 2200, 2600, 8000, 9000. That's actually a really good size for local audiences. Yep.
Laurel, I have a question.
Absolutely.
So I'm really stumped on the audiences because I work with a wide array of different business owners.
Yeah.
Should I be just kind of pick one type like marketers or interior designers and narrow it down that way? Or should I just keep it broad?
I think you can try a couple of let's start with, do you have your ads manager, your audience manager up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring that up. Let's work on this one together. I've targeted, I have a client who is you, so I already know how I target his people. So I can walk you through some of the targeting I use for his offer.
Okay, I just share my screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone else, be placing your power content. Yeah, so let's go ahead and create an audience. And I'll just kind of walk you through a couple and then saved audience. Okay. Are you targeting people in Canada?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go all the way down. Do you find like age matters? Like I know in his, we usually target people 35 and up. But if you have a specific,
I usually do like 30 to 50.
Yep. That's fine. Yep. Okay, so detailed targeting. So let's start with simple, right? Most people who would need your service are probably using a software like QuickBooks, right?
Yep.
Yep. So QuickBooks. And then there's another one, Xero.
Yeah. So I have a question here. Yes, they're using that, but by me putting it in there here, does that mean they have to be like following QuickBooks or Xero?
Not necessarily. They just have an interest. Like, so they probably frequently, so the way that Facebook builds their interest targeting is actions that are taking within the Facebook app, right? So like, let's say that they're using Facebook and then they go to, their Xero or whatever. Like if their app is open, it's tracking, right? It just gives you a good place to start. So if you look, it'll give you some more suggestions. So hit suggestions.
Oh.
Yep. And see, you could do accounting software and it'll FreshBooks, account, like all of that stuff, right? Accounting software. So you could actually stop right there, like if you really wanted to. And then if you go, so scroll down and then narrow audience. So what type of business do you feel like you want to go after right now? Like, let's just, and so we'll target based on like the industry.
Okay. Lately I've been working with a lot of marketers.
Okay. So describe marketers, like, you know, like Russell Brunson's people, like.
That's where I don't really know like who they follow. I just know that they provide a marketing service.
Okay. So marketing services. So they probably, if they provide marketing services, like would they, are they people like me?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Janet had a good suggestion. Follow industry publishers like Moz. Yeah. I think Moz actually is targetable too. Type in MOZ. Yep, marketing software. There you go. Yep, and there's also like HubSpot, I think is still, like if you hit suggestions, it'll bring up some suggestions.
Okay.
Yep, HubSpot. Yep, and let's see how big that audience is. It's 66,000 to 78,000. You would think that there would be more people in Canada that would match that description. So you could say that one as one audience, and so name that one like marketing, accounting software, accounting/marketing software. Charlene says there ain't a lot of us up here, eh? Accounting and then marketing software, and then create the saved audience. And here's what I would do then. I would click on that. Yep, click on it and then hit edit on the right hand side.
Is it not?
So go to the right hand side.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. And then scroll to the bottom. And I'd make a different variation with that, but I'd go way broader. So X out the not the top stuff, but the bottom stuff. Yep, HubSpot. And then I would put in entrepreneurship. Yep, and then let's look at the intro at the top. 591. So go back to entrepreneurship and then add in small business owners, but the behavior. Yep. And then scroll up. Yep. And then save as new, not update. Save as new.
Should I take this part out?
But save as new first.
Okay.
And then, yep. And then you can, and then accounting and this entrepreneurship broad. Yep. Cool. And then what I would do is the next things that I would do, I would keep doing that and then just trying different combinations. Whereas some of them, I would probably even take out accounting software and maybe just put financial services instead of accounting software. But you see how I'm doing that? I'm just creating like different types of audiences. And that's literally how I built all of Dan Nicholson's audiences.
Okay. Thank you for that. I wasn't sure because I was stumped on like using the QuickBooks or Xero because I thought that they'd have to actually like that page. And I don't picture just business owners liking QuickBooks.
Well, so I'll give you an example. So let's say like they're following like some financial, like, financial expert. As a matter of fact, Robert Kiyosaki would be someone that's good. Napoleon Rich, Think and Grow Rich. Like I think some of those stuff would be good for you to target too.
Okay.
Just think like, but you don't have to like overthink that. But God, where was I going with that? What was I saying before that? But like you could even test interests that have nothing to do with like financial interests whatsoever. You can just steal my audiences for my online, coaching audiences or whatever, and target the same ones. So here's how Facebook, like, let's say someone, this is where I was going with that. So let's say one of the financial experts or whatever posts an article about how to use QuickBooks in your business, blah, 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 on Facebook. And they click that, right? Facebook's like, oh, that person's interested in QuickBooks. Yep. So Lois, yep. Choose campaign engagement video views. Yep. Charlene had the new version of Ads Manager where mine looks different, where I can actually choose video views as the objective. So some of you guys might be able to choose video views as an objective versus. You guys good? I'm gonna take about a 10-minute break. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna check on you guys.
I had a quick question for you, Laurel, because I'm in a different
Yeah,
situation
absolutely.
than most of them. Where it seems like I'm in a different position. I have all my ads up here, or as far as the power content, but of course for this challenge or whatnot, I created 3 more videos per what you said to do. So I have those created. Am I changing all my ads that are already running? Because I heard you say something about changing your power content like every quarter or every month or something like that.
Yeah, let's turn off the ones I set up for you, and let's have you
You're
set
doing
yours
so
up.
well. That's like
No, if they're doing well, don't turn them off. But well, let's add some more. I want you to.
No, I mean, I don't. They're as I'm looking at them right now. It's what my power content back to that.
At least practice. Like
Yeah,
even
I
if
mean,
you could always like set up a new campaign from start to finish and just leave them all in draft.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got how to do all these things. I just wanted to make sure. Do you want me to change this stuff? This stuff
But
I
don't run out. Here's a rule of thumb: don't ever change a current ad. Always duplicate the ad set, and like even if let's say Charlene notices later that, oh shit, this ad text has a misspelling in it. I would not want her to go and change and correct it in the ad that's running. I would have her duplicate it and correct it in the one that's duplicated, because what if the one that has the misspelling in it is doing better?
Right.
Well,
here's the
and
thing.
that happens sometimes. Sometimes the ads with misspelling do better than the ones without it.
Looks natural. Now, what I have for my power content right now, the way we set it up is the ping pong. So that was the reason why I really wanted to know if I should put this out here also, or what did you suggest I do? Because I worry.
So here's what I would do. I would create a new campaign. Like I would do and I would name it Power Content Tier 2. Launch those 3 new pieces of power content using your warm audiences from the first group.
Using a warm. Okay, cool. Warm audiences.
Yep, and just do it at $2 a day for your warm.
All right, for sure.
Cool. I'll be right back, guys. If you guys need help, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. How are you guys doing?
I'm still at the
Everybody good?
audience.
Hey,
Does
Laurel,
anyone
would
have
you
any,
mind-
does anyone have any work for me to check before we hop off?
Would you mind looking at my audiences, Laurel?
No, not at all.
I would love a quick look on the audience too.
Okay. So I noticed there's like lookalike audiences and custom audiences set up from like over a year ago when I did some ads for, so it was a menopausal offer, but it was before I'd niched down into hysterectomy. So I don't know whether to use those, or I've got some saved audiences here. Some of them are probably some older
So
ones.
you see how when you wave over your custom audiences and it says not available, those are because they're not big enough to be used.
Okay. Like these.
It's because it doesn't have enough data from the other audience to
Yeah.
create a lookalike audience.
Okay, cool. So I would either create a new audience or use the saved ones.
Yeah. I would try. Yep, I would try. I mean, they all look good to me. I don't see anything off for you.
How do you choose?
You just do. That's the thing, is you just do. Like I told you guys, I don't have any magical powers. It takes testing.
Okay, all right. And you just choose if I've already got these custom audience, these saved audience set up, you choose one of these audiences for that one ad.
Yeah, you can do it that way. But again, I give you guys framework so that you guys can, kind of have fun with it. Like if you wanted to, you could choose your best video and do 3 different audiences and use the same video, right? And see which audience hits best with that one video. So
Yeah.
there's different, combinations that you could do. Nothing's wrong. That's what I want you guys to understand.
Nothing's wrong.
There's no real wrong way to, to do anything.
Yeah. And do you UK or like UK, Australia, New Zealand? Whatever
Depends.
I want.
Whoever's your audience, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
Don't get caught up on those little details. Those are little details that do not matter. Do not matter.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of people out. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, all these targeting ninja tricks or whatever. I've used 0 of those. What's up, Rose? Say that one more time. You're breaking up.
Can I talk now?
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me? Great. So in regards to the videos, you said we should film them horizontal, but I always make them square like Charlene with the banners prior. Should I create them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Square again?
I always test banners first, but if you didn't do any with banners,
not yet.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Like I just today was all about launching power content and learning how to do it. Like, because trust me, guys, these are not going to be the last pieces of power content that you run.
But do I need to make them square?
It does not matter. It does not matter.
Got it. And does it make sense for me to just try one out now, but then add the layers in later and start over again?
If you do what you have the budget to do. Like if you only have $5 a day to spend, I would spend it on one power content video.
Yeah, I guess my question was, does it make sense to practice setting one up, but get it approved?
It always makes sense to practice. I would, like, as a matter of fact, all of you guys, I would create a campaign and set it up and just leave it in draft if you guys want the practice. Like you guys need to get very, very comfortable with your ads manager. Like I spend very little time in my ads manager. As a matter of fact, I launched ads and I don't freaking look at them. The more, honestly, here's the truth. The more I look at my ads and the more that I change them, the worse they perform. And that is the god awful truth. Frequency of exposure. You guys know that term, frequency of exposure. They always say the two best investors. Who are the two best investors? The first best investor is someone who's dead, and the second best investor is someone who forgot they invested. Right? Charlene knows what I'm talking about. She's laughing. Well, guys, I'm going to go. If no one has any ads for me to look at, rewatch the training. This will not be the last implementation session that we have. We will have plenty more. Also, if you guys want me to check your setup, here's the best way to do it. Like if you want me to check it in the group, don't shoot a Loom video. Just shoot me a screenshot of this is my campaign level. This is my ad set level, and this is my ad level. I will be able to tell from those 3 screenshots whether or not you set up your ads correctly. So if you want me to check your ad setup in the group, that's the way to do it. Hey, you're very welcome.
I have one last question.
Yes. Go ahead, guys.
Sorry for Jonas crying in the background, but I'm a little overwhelmed with all the extra training. So I guess I'm doing the 3 power content videos, but do I really need to go back to all the trainings that I missed?
So no, I would just recommend going over the new rules of the Facebook and how all the how we set up the content, because I blew out a lot of the content, but it's all still here. It's all still here. I did a couple. I would say instead of going through the content videos, go through the kind of here's what you need to know videos. That's in the Facebook group. They're very short, and just to kind of refamiliarize yourself. There's not much that's changed. Just the way that we're doing these implementation calls and everything. There's some content and stuff missing, but if you start with the power content and you're following along, you should be just fine.
Yeah, because we created the strategy with the power content and then creating conversations, inviting them into my session. Remember? Mm-hmm. So I'm still.
We're going to be going. We're actually going to be. If you start the intensive right now, you're right where you need to be, because our next workshop is going to be exactly that.
Okay. All right. So just keep following along now. Thank you so much for clarifying that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you guys have a good one. I will speak to you. Let's see, the next coaching call coming up. If you guys need anything, I will be in the group tomorrow, Friday, answer questions up until 10 a.m. So just make sure I'll be off for the weekend, and then we'll hit it back hard on Monday. Okay. Rock and roll, guys. Good session today.